Shall we begin?
What is up? What's going on, guys? Trizzle here, tuning in, bringing you guys another great 3-star tutorial. Today, we're going to be getting into a little Town Hall 12 Queen Charge Electro DragLoon. That's right, guys. And as you saw from the video intro, this is going to be hashtag Mother of Dragons, hashtag Dracaris, because we're going to be going in with that Queen Charge to set the tone for those Electro Dragons and just wreck face. So without further ado, I'm not going to waste any time. We're just going to hop right into the army, which is going to be 8 balloons, 2 wizards, 5 healers, 1 baby dragon, 5 Electro Dragons, a Wallwrecker for your siege machine, 8 balloons for your CC troops, and your Grand Warden needs to be set on air mode. Now, as far as your spells, you'll be bringing 3 raid spells, 4 freeze spells, 1 poison spell, and then 1 raid spell in your CC. Now, as far as the tips for success, you need to make sure that you're using this primarily on compact bases. That way you can make the most of the E-Drags, the Chain Lightning attack. You always got to make sure you're using max Town Hall troops only. And you want to always plan your opening for the Queen Walk and make sure that the entry point for your E-Drags is ideal. I like to consider a backup plan in the event that the AQ charge doesn't really go the way that it's supposed to, so it's always a good idea. And of course, the 3-star max bases in war consistently, you've got to make sure that you're bringing that max Archer Queen as well as a max Grand Warden. I'll say it again, and I'll continue to say it again, guys. Practice, practice. Memorize those raid objectives and practice some more, guys. You cannot do that enough. Now, getting into the actual raid objectives, starting with number 1, you always want to make sure you're scouting the base so you can determine the best side of the base to attack. The AQ charge has to be able to take out at least 2 air defense as well as the Eagle artillery. Now, you got to make sure that you use at least a loon at the very beginning to scout for any seeking air mines, and deploy the baby dragon to start the funnel to allow your queen to walk in the right direction. Now, once you've done that, you're going to deploy your Archer Queen followed by 5 healers to target her, and you'll want to keep a raid spell handy ready to go for when the queen gets targeted by more than 2 defenses, or if she gets targeted by the Expo as well as another defense. Now, you're going to deploy for number 4, raid objective number 4, you'll want to deploy the Barbarian King and the 2 wizards ahead of the Archer Queen to close the funnel in preparation for your entry point into the base. Now, you don't want to drop him too close to the Archer Queen, so that way the healers end up retargeting him. You want to leave a nice healthy gap. Now, the main job for raid objective number 5, the main job of the Wallwrecker is to allow the Archer Queen charge to access the center of the base and take out the Eagle artillery and as many air defenses as possible. You want to deploy the Wallwrecker in between the Barbarian King and the Archer Queen. Raid objective number 6. Make the most of your king, guys. Never let his health dip below halfway or allow any single target infernos to lock onto him before you can use that Iron Fist ability. Raid objective number 7. Make the most of your raid spells. Keep in mind, you're going to use 1 raid spell for the loons that you deploy that come out of your Wallwrecker, and you always want to make sure you time that raid spell so that as the Wallwrecker goes down, those loons immediately come out under rage. And don't be afraid to use the other 3 raid spells on your Archer Queen charge to make sure you complete those raid objectives. Now, number 8, protect your Archer Queen at all costs. If any single target infernos lock onto her before she can take out the Eagle artillery and the air defenses, go ahead and use a freeze spell and possibly her hero ability to get out of that. Time your E-Drag deployment to try and keep her alive to the end of the raid. Raid objective number 9. Deploy your Electro Dragons immediately followed by a line of loons and the Grand Warden, and you want to do that adjacent to the wedge carved out by the Archer Queen charge. And in some cases, you'll need to drop one Electro Dragon to begin the funnel before you deploy the rest of your army. Just make sure you don't spread the E-Drags too far apart. Raid objective number 10. Be careful not to attack directly into air sweepers, guys, especially ones that protect the Town Hall, Giga Tesla, any clusters of high DPS guarded by single target Infernos. Remember that Electro Drags move very, very slowly, and you're not really going to have a ton of raid spells to help them out. Raid objective number 11. Make the most of your freeze spells, guys. Focus on freezing the single target Infernos, air defenses, and the Giga Tesla, and always save that Grand Warden ability. It's usually best to help take out the Town Hall. And that's going to bring us to the last and final raid objective, which is number 12. And that's just going to be sit back and collect your 3-star, guys. So there you have it. Just wanted to go over the raid objectives so you guys can see it laid out. Just one thing I do want to remind you guys, make sure that if you're bringing your own Wallwrecker, instead of having one donated to you, that you select that at the start of the raid. I'm sure if you're a Town Hall 12, at some point you probably made this mistake. So just double check, guys, in case someone doesn't donate it to you, make sure you bring your own. So without further ado, let's go ahead and actually hop into some of these replays. That way you guys can see it in action. Starting with this first replay, on a fairly well-developed base, you'll notice that I started my Archer Queen walk on the top right-hand side, brought in the Baby Dragon to help cut the funnel, and down goes the Archer Queen, followed by those 5 healers. Again, you want to keep that rage on standby just to be able to make sure that you can take out the defenses as the Queen gets targeted by those high DPS clusters, and they start to bring her health down. So in we go. The Baby Dragon actually cuts the funnel on the far right, and that allows the Queen to start traveling and making her way towards the direction of the Eagle Artillery. You'll notice at the top of the base, I went ahead and dropped the King, followed by the 2 Wizards to close out the funnel, and then I dropped the Wallwrecker to bring in the Queen into the base. Of course, the King ends up moving very closely, and as such, it came very close to have it retarget, but luckily the air sweeper actually kind of helped out with the healers, keeping them back. Now, I do know that, because the whole point of this raid is to make sure that you're getting as much out of the Queen charge as possible. If you can get in there and take out the Eagle, you get at least 1 or 2 air defenses, you raid your loons. You'll notice that the Giga Tesla goes down. By the end of it, there really isn't a whole lot left standing. So once that's done, you're going to want to bring in your your Electro Dragons. And again, you want to try and make sure that you're not attacking into any air sweepers, which is why I chose to come from the other direction. So in came the Eagle Artillery. I went ahead and froze that Inferno. That way I can keep the Queen up, and the E-Drags will work their way around the base. And you'll notice that the Queen, even though she only has 1 healer, she's able to have a huge contribution as she works her way through the base, even takes out the last couple air defense, still end up having her ability, and then that last freeze ends up sealing the deal. So there you have it, guys, a Tripolsky, and that is how you do's it. I wish I had, I've actually probably showed a couple of these replays on a couple of the last Town Hall 12 videos, so I'm sure this isn't the first time you guys have seen it in action, but like I said, it's extremely OP. So here we have another pretty well developed Town Hall 12. We're going to start the raid by carving out the funnel on the bottom right with the Baby Dragon, and then we're just going to use that Queen to work her way into the base. As she starts to travel, she makes her way to the top. So we're going to see the King coming down here before long, followed by the Wizards to start closing the funnel, and then in comes the Wallwrecker. That way the Queen charge can work its way into the core of the base, making sure that it takes out. Looks like we'll probably get the Town Hall, the Giga Tesla, along with the air defense, and possibly even the Eagle Artillery. So unfortunately that air defense had some snipe shots on my healers, so they didn't really hold up as much as I would have liked, but using those raid spells, we're actually able to take out quite a bit. The Eagle goes down, the air defense on the right goes down, the other air defense is going to go down, and then in come the E-Drags, and they come in adjacent to the queen, guys. If you can bring them in and get the timing just right, it allows you to keep your queen up, use the E-Drags as cover, and as they move across the base, you still have a couple freeze spells. That way you can freeze your air defense or those single target infernos, whichever is going to give you the most bang for your buck. But you'll notice, guys, like, it's so OP. It's one of those things that if you can practice, you get comfortable with your queen walks. It's definitely something that's really going to help you guys out. And it doesn't look like this was a super high base in terms of defense strength, but it's still good for the preparation in terms of the execution, guys, because the more you can develop your muscle memory with these attacks, the more fluent you're going to become, the more confidence that you'll have, because you'll be so used to how the queen walk goes. And that's one thing that if you spend a long time, doing queen walk raids, you, just like everything else, you get more and more comfortable. You get a feel for how the queen tends to behave, and you understand, what you need to do to access the core and make sure you get in there and complete those raid objectives. So once you get in and you can take out the Eagle Artillery and a couple air defense, it pretty much guarantees the 3-star. I have had one or two instances where I still didn't get the 3-star, but it's still extremely strong. Again, using that Giga Tesla to protect the Grand Warden Eternal Tome, to protect your army as it engages the Giga Tesla, as well as any single target infernos. So by the end of it, the base clearly takes an L. And as you can see, guys, this raid is so strong. So it's definitely something that you want to make sure that you have, in your practice raids. The one thing I can't stress enough, guys, since you have to have max heroes, you definitely don't want to, expect, the most out of this raid. If you're hitting max bases and you only have like a level 45 queen, you'll still be successful. You can still very well get a couple 2-star attacks, maybe even a lucky 3-star here and there. But you've got to have those max heroes, guys. The queen walk benefits so much. Having that level 60 queen is so OP. So definitely make sure you're rocking that max heroes. As always, your boy Trizzle appreciates you guys watching the video all the way to the end. Make sure you guys comment down below. Let me know what you think of this raid. Let me know if you guys are using it. And let me know what video you guys want to see next. I'm going to continue to work hard, try to put out as much quality content as I can for you guys. But the more feedback that I get, the better it is, because then I can involve you guys and give you what you want. Don't forget, we're still in the month of April 2019, so we're still doing that Town Hall 9 giveaway. Make sure you get out there and comment on as many videos as possible before the end of the month, because come April 30th, that's it, guys. Finito. If you're not in it, you don't got a chance to win it. So, again, appreciate you guys watching the video to the end. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that gay YouTube shit, and Trizzle tuning out. See you guys next time. Queen walk. Queen. I don't even understand how my fucking queen talk.
What?
She pull up on the CC, let that poison spell out.
Skirt. Pull up on
Max
the CC.
Queen had to get that bitch level up.
Ooh, little bit.
50 racks DE, book my queen for a little queen walk. Queen walk.
Queen.
I don't even understand how my fucking queen talk.
What?
She pull up on the CC, let that poison spell out.
Skirt. Pull up on
Max
the
Queen
CC.
had to get that bitch level up.
Ooh, little bit.
50 racks DE, book my queen for a little queen walk.